Hello students, the last time you were in art class, we started looking at the weird taxidermied creatures of Dr. Seuss or Theodore Geisel. He not only had interesting creatures in his books, he had them in real life. This is my little example display of Dr. Seuss specimens. Let's check out what F was about. Tropical birdie spiffins, discovered by Miss Yao in the Amazon rainforest. This animal has camouflage to appear like foliage from beneath and like forest floor from above. It has yellow flowers to gain attention from potential mates. So I gave it a name and I gave it some information about why it looks the way it does. If you're interested in these specimens, you can see what they're all about. So think about your creature. Does it have big eyeballs? Is it nocturnal? Does it have a beak for some particular reason that helps it survive? However your animal looks, whether it has cool things to display its awesomeness and attract friends and mates, or something weird so it can battle with something on its head, you're going to be talking about those and you're going to be giving it its color. Notice there's not a lot of different colors on these, and they're even kind of naturalistic. And so that's why today we're going to use watercolor. We're not going to add every color of the rainbow on our creatures, but we're going to start by scratching the back with a paper clip. By scratching, that will give a good place for the glue to adhere it. You're going to have a small square of sandpaper so you can sand off a little tiny spot in the middle of your plaque. Be sure and brush both of these off. Then you can wait to do this or do it now. You can add some glue to that spot. Now this glue does take a while to dry, so you have to hold it still. And I forgot to snip off that little brown string we don't need for this project. And since I didn't get to add eyes on this one, I'm going to scratch that hardened clay and add the same glue, and then I can delicately place the eyes now that I know where I want them. So like I said, we're using watercolor, and I'd like you to stick to no more than 2 colors, thinking about how animals have color on their bodies. A lot of the time, the pigment in fur or scales shifts from one tone to another. So a fish might have one tone of scales on the top of its body and another tone down on its belly. And you might notice it's the same with cats and other creatures. Look how I'm painting slowly with this tiny brush, just using a small amount of water. Any place I use more water, it's lighter. Any place I use less water and more pigment, it's darker. I'm painting all the way wrapping around the side so that no matter what angle my creature is viewed from, the viewer will see the color. And you'll also notice that if you're brushing a lot on your creature, you might end up stirring in some of the clay itself. The clay kind of re-moistens and joins in with your paint. And this is something that might help make it look a more natural color, so it's not a bad thing, but you just don't want to make the whole thing too muddy. So just a few strokes of paint, and I chose orange for my bottom color. And I'm going to make sure that those 2 colors sort of seamlessly blend from one into the other, the way that the top of a creature might blend down into a lighter color below. So this is definitely sped up. You'll be taking your time so that you can control the water and the pigment on your small brush so you can get colors into all the texture. And I decided to add some extra polka dot freckles on top of my creature with a darker tone of purple. Again, to get darker, you just use less water. Whenever you're doing watercolor, it's a great idea to have a paper towel nearby. And now I'm finished. So after you wash your brush, put all of your supplies away, we'll need to get your data on your creature. You're going to go to the Grout Art website, and you're going to click on Seussian Specimens. There's a link for you to click, and then you're going to click in the information. Number 1, before you think of the name or anything, and I got excited here and started typing the name. Before you think of a name, you just need to write what the plaque number is, so that the number on your plaque will correspond with the label we have in the display case, just like the example I showed you earlier. Then you have to think of really cool Dr. Seuss-like name, like Mountain Cuddle Miffler, Insectus Smartus, Leaf Bumper, Night Jumper, Rockin' Puppers. These are all the kinds of words that Dr. Seuss would use for his animal. And so on my plaque, I have actually the letter G, so that's what I put in my number blank. And then you talk about where your creature came from, what its habitat is, and that will also influence how its features help it. So its creature powers or its adaptive traits, the things that help it survive in the wild, to get its food, to escape predators, or to compete for power. All animals have these kinds of creature powers, and I want you to talk about them. All right, if you need any help, you know who to ask. Have fun, guys.